Welcome back to Basketball Media Day. The boss man is here. Athletic Director, heads men's basketball coach D. Fraizer. D, thanks for giving us some of your time. Thanks for having me too.
Welcome to the family.
I appreciate that. So D is from Brooklyn, New York, and I always kind of enjoy talking about New York City basketball. So D, you just let me know when you've had enough of this part of the conversation. We'll move on because there's a lot of really good things happening here at Clinton I want to talk about, but it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me. So take me through, we know a lot about, I feel like, general basketball knowledge about Manhattan, about, Rucker Park and places like that. Is there kind of a rivalry between the boroughs?
Well, on the high school level, there is a rivalry. Every summer they do a New York versus New York Classic, and pretty much it's 5 teams. Well, it's one team from each borough, which pretty much is 5 teams, and they play a season, and then after that they play a championship game. So normally, if I'm not mistaken, the Brooklyn team is taking it home 3 times in a row. So,
really? That's great.
Yep. But on the unlimited level, which is college and advanced high school guys and overseas pros, it's pretty hard to do a rivalry because everyone knows each other. So you have teams from Queens who recruit Brooklyn players, and you have Brooklyn's teams who recruit Queens players and Staten Island players. So I wouldn't really call it a rivalry on that level.
No, that's interesting. So it's a little more organized too than I think maybe a general basketball fan would think.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I honestly give street ball a lot of credit when it comes to me being prepared from an athletic director standpoint, and also a head men's basketball coach standpoint. So
how's that? Go into a little more detail there.
I mean, in the summertime, my experience from running and coaching summer league basketball teams in New York City, I mean, you have to recruit the best players, you have to recruit them the right way. You want to win. You don't want to get embarrassed. So you really have to come up with game plans. You have to also be like a athletic director or a director of basketball operations, because you have to know the schedules. You have to know if I have 4 teams in 4 different tournaments, a guy, like if you're a great player, you may have on Saturday, you may have a game with another coach somewhere else. So I have to actually have a schedule and pretty much know, hey, Chris can't be here today, so Joe, I have to call Joe so Joe can fill in. So it's a lot about time management and pretty much getting the right roster to actually bring home the prize at the end of the day.
Very interesting stuff. This is a lot of stuff that I don't think I would have thought about.
It's
certainly, these were not the answers I was expecting when I said, let's talk about New York City basketball. Who are some of the people from Brooklyn who maybe people should know a little bit more about? They can get on Google or whatever.
Well, I'll definitely start off by saying Lance Stevenson. I mean,
I loved Lance Stevenson.
Yeah, when I was in high school.
You got a little bit of the
yeah. Yeah, but Lance is he's a real good dude. I think he's underrated. I think he's a way better basketball player than what people give him credit for. And even on the old school tip, Jamal Tinsley.
Yeah.
Like, I love Jamal Tinsley's game. He's actually a great friend of mine. So he was actually one of my OGs growing up because we're from the same block, Tompkins Avenue. So, and I believe he's another underrated guy who doesn't get as much credit as he's supposed to.
Yeah, this is kind of a nice little tree of people that you can call up in this new role as athletic director and a basketball coach now, and really get some great experience.
Man, and sometimes I be wishing, like, man, if Kemba would have stayed here, man, we would have had Kemba in this gym a lot.
Kemba should have stayed here.
Oh, man, listen, I could make maybe 1, maybe 2 phone calls and Kemba would have been here. But
wow.
Yeah, so
that's
definitely
cool.
A good deal.
Let's talk a little bit about your athletic duties. You're a few months into it now. You brought me in, so clearly this man is a smart man. Just tell me a little bit about getting settled in and what that's been like for you.
It's been a great experience. I mean, I work with some well-rounded people, some very great people. I mean, I wouldn't choose any other place to work. I mean, I love it here. I remember being here as a student, and like I even said in my press conference, it's a lot of things that all students, they would say, man, if we had this, we would be better. If we had that, we would be better. Now I have the chance to bring it to light, So even something small as live streaming, they never had a real athletics live stream. So now my parents are from New York. My brother lives in Florida. My sister lives in Atlanta. I have kids. I think I only have one South Carolina kid. Parents can't come out here and see games.
Right.
So I mean, the best thing, free live stream on YouTube. You know.
Right.
So that's something that I thought that we needed, and we finally got it to light.
And it's you know what I noticed? Just the really small things, not just live streaming, but just you put a logo on the door.
Yeah, man.
You know,
I got tired of walking in every day seeing a gray door. You know. So
right.
Had to switch it up. You know, it brings a little light and it brings a little eye candy to this nice campus.
Right. Let's get into basketball because boy, do we have a lot to talk about here.
Yep.
You know, last few weeks or so, and of course people are watching this whenever, but late summer into early fall, your schedule really changed a little bit.
Yeah.
You have a couple of big events that I want to hit on first. No Room for Racism. Tell me about what that is and how you became involved in it.
Okay, well, yeah, the No Room for Racism Classic is in its first year to be held December 10th to 12th, 2021, out here in Rock Hill, South Carolina at the brand new sports complex. The first game is High Point versus, I want to say High Point plays South Carolina State. Then it'll also be Winthrop versus Carver Bible. And then the nightcaps for the Sunday games is pretty much Florida State and South Carolina and Clinton College versus Edward Waters College. So
wow.
I think that's definitely a good deal. We're competing for a great cause. A lot of great head coaches who will be coaching that day, that weekend. So I think it's pretty cool for Clinton to get that recognition.
Yeah, I'm a Cleveland State guy, so I'm big with Florida State and Dennis Gates and
Yep.
those guys. I root for them. But
Yep.
you know, tell us a little bit about what an event like that means for what you're about to do later today, which is recruiting.
Oh man, I mean, it's just a big sell. I told my guys, I'm like, hey, we may have a chance to play before Florida State and South Carolina. Like even if we don't play, for you just for that game to be in your area, like it means a lot.
Right.
Like people are gonna travel from that game. Like that's one of those games where it's gonna be an experience that you can tell your grandchildren, your children. Like I think that's just a very good experience. So it boosts up recruiting a little bit because a lot of guys say, hey, where's Clinton College at, or what is Clinton College doing? You know. I sell my schedule, I sell myself, and that's how we get the players that we got here.
Speaking of the other part of the schedule, Troy. You're going to Troy this year.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how that game came about.
Well, I hit up my good friend, Coach Trent. He's over there at Troy. He's the director of basketball operations. He put me in contact with Coach Worley that's over there. We talked during the summer, and they agreed to help me fundraise for my program, you know, so it's definitely a good look. We had a lot of other Division I options to go with, and a lot of people, they say, hey, just load your schedule up, fundraise. But I know when you're going into those games, you're going in as an underdog. And sometimes the outcome isn't what you want it to be, and I don't want to demoralize my team by just fundraising money. So I thought one great game versus Troy where I can coach, I can learn a lot of things, but majority I could just sit back and let my guys enjoy the experience. I think that's good for the program.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the line, and I know some other colleges that do load their schedule, and it's fun for the kids about the first couple of games, and then by game 4 or 5, it's like okay, let's get into our schedule.
It's just a repetitive beating. So,
yeah,
and I'm not going to take my guys through that, you know.
Well, let's talk about the more winnable portions of your schedule, maybe, and get into a little bit about. Now, when you were here, they were in the NJCAA, and now you're in the USCAA. For those who don't know, the USCAA has 2 tiers: Division I, Division II. You guys are D1. Just kind of talk a little bit about that competition later on in your schedule.
Oh, when I first got the job and when I was first offered the job, the first thing I did was I went on Synergy and I watched probably about 7 to 8 USCAA games, EMAC games, which is pretty much our conference.
Right.
That's Warren Wilson College, Johnson and Wales University, Apprentice School, Regent University out of Virginia Beach. They're a new member, so I checked out a lot of those games. Mid-Atlantic Christian University, and I was just like, wow. For the most part, there was some talent, but I looked at it and I was just licking my chops. I was just like, man, like it was kind of the lowest level of college basketball that I watched. Being honest, it was the lowest level, but I mean, we got to win. So.
People don't understand too, like even at this level, there's talent.
Yeah,
there's real talent.
You have pros. I think it was 2 pros the last 2-3 years in our conference. I think they had like 3 pros who's overseas making pretty decent money. So
Right.
I mean, just take a look at Coach Blair and her crew. Like they're beating teams, like they're demolishing teams. Like, and she has a great team. And a lot of people won't think that it's a lot of talent on this level, but it is.
Right.
It is.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the players. A first-year coach can be sometimes difficult. You're installing your values, you're installing your system, you're installing all of those kinds of things, and you've also brought in some transfers.
Yep. So pretty much, while building my roster, I just look for high character guys who just gonna go get it. I mean, a lot of people say, hey, we need shooters, we need this, we need that. I tell guys when they ask me, hey, coach, what you need over there? I need a dog.
Yeah.
I don't care if he can shoot. I need a dog.
I mean, everybody playing college basketball can shoot.
Yeah, so I need a dog. I need a dog to the point where if we got 4 practices in one day, he ain't going to cry about his knees being hurt or things like that. I need a dog. If I tell him to run through this brick wall, he'll run through it head first. So that's what I like to recruit. And I mean, the roster that we have a lot of dogs. I want to say we have 13 dogs. So I'm excited. We're bringing back Cameron Shannon. He was a second team all EMAC player. We're bringing back a great floor general and J.C. McCorn. So great reserve guys, Siraj Harris, Jamarian Davis, and James Brooks. I feel like the returners, they definitely been meshing well with the guys who are new here, and this is a culture shock too. Because, I mean, we bringing in 2 JUCO All-Americans. We're bringing in an all-conference JUCO player who averaged 26 and 6 at the D2 JUCO level. Like, we're bringing in guys. We're bringing in Division I transfers, so Division II transfers who played on top 25 teams. So when they first came here, it was a culture shock. But now they're all on the same page. Hey, we want to win. We want to win fast and move on. So.
Yeah, and it's important to get them to gel. Everybody kind of has to be on that.
Yep, and we discuss that every day. We discuss that every day, even in workouts. The first day we ran, hey, you guys got to be on the same page. Like, I tell them and I be upfront with them. I have 10 guys on my team who can start on any team in the conference. Does that mean we'll win a conference championship? No, it does not.
Right.
Does it mean we'll win 5 games? No, we can win 2 games with those guys. So I let those guys know that, and for the most part, they have been coming together. So we'll see if we can finish the season with those guys.
I wanted to ask you, too, and I meant to ask Coach Blair, I'm not sure if it's the same on the women's side as the men's, but everybody's kind of talking football, basketball, the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. Does the transfer portal make its way down to the USC AA?
Well, I can't speak for other guys, but me being on the Division II level and NAIA level, and even at the Division I level at Little Rock, we've thrived on the transfer portal. So, I mean, I get updates from verbal commits on Twitter. I get updates every time a kid hits the portal,
Right.
So, what I do my due diligence. I check them out. If I know a coach who may have played against them or coached against them or even have coached a player, I will call them, find out, and I reach out, Because like I tell them, I have a goal of mine here. Even though we're not a Division II or NAIA program, we move like a Division II or NAIA program.
Right.
And I know that I can snag a lot of transfers. So I can't speak for everybody else in the USCAA, but we thrive heavy on the transfer portal here.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's what it's for, and it's given these kids a little bit of freedom, and it's given coaches a whole new world of recruiting, really.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it speaks with our roster. I mean, you got a guy like Jerry Perry, who was a JUCO All-American at Bossier Parish, won a conference tournament, won the SWAC tournament over there at Texas Southern 2 years ago. He's here. Once he posted his commitment, I had Division I coaches calling me like, hey, how did you get JP? How did you get Jerry Perry? Like, where he's coming from. So then you have a kid like Tyler Bourne, who averaged 26 and 6 at the D2 JUCO level. Had a lot of Division II offers, originally committed to Clark Atlanta University, which is a halfway decent Division II in the SIAC. And he ends up at a Clinton College, and everybody's like, wait, how did that happen, And then same way with a guy like Najee Scott or Devin Campbell. Najee Scott averaged 10 points per game at Glenville State. Glenville State is a D2 in West Virginia. Mm-hmm. They averaged over 110 points per game. They were top 5 in the country for points per game in the country. So, and he came here, and people are like, wow, how did that happen? So it's all about recruiting, man, and I love the transfer portal, man.
Well, that's good, and certainly big things in store for Clinton College, the athletic department as a whole, and of course the men's basketball team. Coach, thanks for giving us some of your time. Looking forward to seeing the team hoop finally here in a little bit.
Yes, sir, and welcome to the family, man. It's a great family to be a part of. You'll love it. They'll treat you like family because you are family. So
I appreciate it, D. Thank you.
All right.